But what we talked about was energy blockages and how it completely controls your life. Today what we're going to talk about is the 3 main energy blockages that everyone has to some sort of extent, how it affects your success when it comes to relationships, when it comes to your career, when it really comes to you just surviving on a basic level. And the diagram that we've actually got here is survival and resources. And the reason I put it this way is because at a basic biological level, we are programmed to survive. And that all depends on the resources that we have in our life. And that really comes down, in the 21st century, to your smarts. It comes down to this organ here and the beliefs that you tell yourself. Because we're not in the Stone Age now where we're dependent on our brawn to survive. It's all about our ability to think, okay? And the organ that really facilitates that is the brain. So the 3 main blocks that I mentioned earlier, the 3 main beliefs determine your success. And I'm going to show you how. So what we've got here is not enough. This is really divided into 2 subsections. It is having enough and also being enough. The next one that we have is things not being available. So the availability of resources. And the next is, and this will surprise quite a few of you, is somehow feeling different. And a feeling different that you can't connect somehow. Whether that's connecting to success, whether it's connecting to people in general, it actually determines our success, believe it or not. So the first one I'm going to start with is not enough, because I put this at the top of the triangle on the pinnacle, because this is by far the most prevailing and pervasive belief when it comes to our success. And it is the thing that really influences everything else. So a lot of you who do science as well will know what this means, okay? It just means an equal and opposite reaction, meaning that these 3 beliefs all influence each other as well. But this one being really at the forefront of everything. So, not enough. The first one I'm actually going to start with is having enough. Okay. A lot of people feel to some sort of degree that they do not have enough in life. They're always scared about their finances, okay, about their job. They always say, oh, I wish I could do this. If I had more money, I would do this. And it's really to do with lack consciousness. And a lot of people who are watching this will have heard the term lack mindset. It's really popularized in the spiritual community these days and in terms of the law of attraction as well. If you have this lack consciousness, can you manifest lack? Because the universe really communicates to us via the quantum field. If we believe that we are lacking in some sort of aspect, some sort of degree, we attract that into our life. Lack is just simply the absence of abundance, and it doesn't matter really what sort of abundance that is, whether material or immaterial, it is just a lack in general. And this leads to scarcity, it leads to neediness, and also the fear of failure at the really extreme ends of the spectrum, where you just give up on trying completely because you are flighting instead of fighting. So what can we really do about this in terms of having enough? How do we actually get rid of it? Well, it's to tell ourselves that we do have enough. I know that might sound really sort of counterintuitive, counterproductive. A lot of you might be wondering, well, why should I tell myself that? What difference will it make? Okay, when you tell the universe that I have enough, all of a sudden you actually start to manifest these things into your life. It's actually really remarkable. Just a shift in mindset and a shift in that belief, okay, will start to usher in all the things that you want. And in fact, I know this one client that I worked with, he had scarcity belief, he had lack consciousness, and he worked 90 hours a week. And he lived in a trailer with his girlfriend on his work site, and he always just kept working and working and working. And I asked him, what is it? Okay, why do you feel the need to work so much? And he actually summarized this to me in a really sort of nice way. He said, I've got working class anxiety. And I sort of realized, oh, and it clicked instantly with me. Because your beliefs from childhood always affect you as an adult. What you were told and your experiences as a child will just carry through with you for the rest of your life. So what happened with this guy is that when he was a kid, he came from a really impoverished background, and he always felt like he didn't have enough. Okay, he wasn't given the things that normal kids were given, he was given free school lunches because his parents could provide for him. And in his mind, back of his mind, he's like, well, I don't have enough because everyone else has got more than me. And a lot of us have actually experienced that, this feeling of not having enough on some sort of level. It doesn't really matter about materially. It could even matter to do with love, for example. Oh, I don't have enough love because for whatever reason, your parents didn't give you enough love when you were a kid. And so you manifest that when you're older as an adult. When it comes to relationships, you might struggle with relationships, attracting what it is that you want in relationships. And it all revolves around this one belief that you do not have enough. But you can change that in a moment. The next one we've actually got is being enough. Now, I think this is perhaps the most important block, personally. And the person who coined this, the person who really found out this, was a woman called Marisa Peer. She's an absolutely amazing psychologist. And she's pretty much coined as the not enough therapist. Because once you cure this one belief, it just completely transforms your life. So we've talked about having enough in terms of the things that are around us, our possessions. But being enough is you. It is you as a person. So if you say that you're not enough, you diminish yourself. And when you diminish yourself, and this is actually really interesting, other people will also diminish you. And what I mean by that is, let's say you were to get into a relationship and you didn't feel good enough, you would project that towards other people. People would be able to sense that, and this is through body language, through intonation, just the way that you act, and people would believe the lie that you told yourself that you're not enough. It's really quite sad, and you have to go through a lot of different relationships or different experiences to actually realise what this belief is, and I see it all the time. Especially with people who jump from one relationship to the next. If you get out of a relationship, you should always take a breather, sit back and kind of think to yourself, okay, what went wrong? What are my beliefs? What am I projecting? Because you are always going to get in life what you project, what you think, what you feel, because the universe likes to bring us this in terms of people, in terms of finances, and this even affects you with finances. I just mentioned relationships, but if you don't believe that you're enough, you're not going to ask for that promotion. You're not going to say, well, no, I know my value, I'm worth more than this. But the really crippling thing about feeling that you're actually not enough is it can really manifest in two extremes. So it can manifest in you underachieving or overachieving. Underachieving meaning that you don't actually fulfill your potential because you don't feel good enough, and therefore you do not feel you have the power to do something. And I think actually the more deleterious one is overachieving. And the reason being with overachievers is they are the workaholics. They're the people who believe that whatever they do, it is never enough. And in fact, I knew a workaholic, and he was my teacher in college. Absolutely phenomenal teacher. But I could always just tell he was haunted by the feeling of not being enough. And as a result, he worked on Christmas, he never stopped working, he was incredibly diligent. But he still had that belief, right? And that can be a good thing in terms of it can motivate you to do things in life. But on the other hand, you will never be satisfied, ever. You might get these dopamine, serotonin hits every time you do something well because you're relying on external validation. But apart from that, there is just this inner feeling of unhappiness. And it's really sad, to be fair. Especially with someone you admire like I did with my teacher, and I could just tell it haunted him. But people have that, our loved ones have that, our friends have that, everyone has that to some sort of degree. And we really need to be made aware of it. So in order for you to actually get rid of this belief, what you need to be saying is, I am enough. And it's so simple, but it's so powerful. And the best way to do it is put it on post-its as well, around your house. I am enough. Every time you look in the mirror, I am enough. Constantly, consecutive, just say that to yourself. If you have little reminders on your phone, I am enough. Get it programmed into you. We work like computers. We are machines. We work on basically the story that we tell ourselves at the end of the day. In terms of I'm enough and really where it comes from, the feeling of not being enough, Again, it comes from childhood, and I'll keep on saying this again and again and again, because it all stems from our childhood. It all stems from when we were younger, because when you were younger, you were more impressionable. And you are more likely to believe as well what your parents tell you, what people who are older than you, okay, believe. And this is why as well, the poor stay poor and the rich stay rich, because they actually transfer their beliefs onto their children about finances, about success. It is really difficult to sort of break out of that, okay, especially when you're surrounded by it, but it's not impossible. Anything is possible as long as you tweak these three beliefs. The next one is things not being available to you. Okay, and it's sort of in a similar vein to sort of not being enough and not having enough, but it's slightly different. It's when someone denies something to you, ask for something, and they say no. I had this one client that she's just an absolutely remarkable woman, and she had an experience with her father where she wanted to do all these different fun things, these different girly things, and her father always said no. He always stopped her from doing it. And she then inherited the belief that that wasn't available to her. She was not allowed to have fun. And this is what's really interesting, is what it manifests as is self-sabotage, right? So let's say you have the belief that you actually can't have fun. Whenever you get fun, or whenever fun is actually given to you by the off chance, you'll somehow mess it up so you don't get it again. Or this could be a relationship as well. Let's say love wasn't available to you for whatever reason, or you were told that you're not lovable. When you get into a relationship with someone that actually loves you and that gives you that love, what are you going to do? You're going to mess up the relationship. Because you are always going to stick to the narrative that you believe in your head. Everyone does that religiously, because we work like computers. We work in programming. We always have to follow our programming. To go against our programming is really stressful. So that's why people follow it. So this leads to self-sabotage, procrastination, really, that's sort of the lighter ways that it manifests, and also the fear of loss as well. So you're always going to be scared of losing things, and again it leads it back into desperation, neediness, and everything like that. Now this belief, the third one, is very, very interesting, because I've noticed it mainly affects my male clients. So it only affects men. This feeling of being different and that you can't connect with people. And it really has to do with the lone wolf syndrome, and feeling that you are somehow better alone, more resources alone. Okay, but that's not true. And that's not true in the slightest. Okay, I don't really need to tell you why that is. Okay, but a lot of people have this sort of belief that's ingrained within them that they somehow cannot connect with other people because maybe their interests are too different, for example, or maybe a little bit more quirky, or maybe they've even got bullied in primary school. It can be a multitude of different reasons, but that creates this belief that they are different. And when you feel that you are different, what happens is you isolate yourself. And this means you isolate yourself from resources, not just people, but from abundance as well. Because here's the thing, right? Energy needs to connect in order for a transference. In order for you to be given energy, you need to be able to connect to that energy. If you withdraw yourself from that energy, you can't connect to it. This concerns abundance as well. If you say to yourself, well, I'm different, you're basically shrinking yourself away from abundance and from the world, because in a quantum field, you're saying, well, you know, I'm not like everything else. And what is everything? It's the universe. You know, everyone is an expression of the universe, of universal energy, right? So people are really an energy, and it's a currency at the end of the day. So if you feel that you can't actually connect, obviously it leads to isolation. It leads to really two big fears, and that's the fear of rejection and the fear of abandonment as well. So people who actually have been abandoned, whether it be with a family member or with a relationship, they feel that, oh, there's something wrong with me. There's something wrong with me. That's why they've done that. There's nothing wrong with you. Okay? But a lot of people see that as a reflection on themselves. It's like when they get out of a bad relationship, oh, there must have been something wrong with me. Okay, no. That's not always the case. So getting rid of this belief that you are different, somehow too different. I mean, it's okay being different. Everyone is unique. But too different to the point of not being able to connect with people, or that there is something wrong with you. There is nothing wrong with you. Get rid of that narrative right now. Some people are just more different than others, but that is because they're being more unique and more authentic to themselves. There is nothing wrong with that. Get rid of that belief that you can't connect with people. You can always find common ground with anyone on anything. Once you actually get that belief installed in your head that you can connect and there's nothing wrong with you, you will actually find you attract more abundance, more wealth, and more opportunities, because you're not dismissing the opportunities in your mind by saying, well, I'm not fit for them because there's something wrong with me. So these are actually the three main core beliefs, and if you can actually find a way to rectify them and make sure to correct them with your post-its, okay, just being aware as well when certain feelings actually come up, then you can attract abundance that you deserve. Abundance is your birthright. This is not to do with entitlement. Everyone is born on this earth deserving love, deserving abundance, deserving success. But the thing that is stopping you is you, because you are your own worst enemy. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you have a lovely day.